Minority Report, my perspective. Guys, I really like this movie. In a sentence, I'll summarize it as proof that the journey is always better than the destination. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain that through my three big likes about this film. First off, the stakes. There are two big events in this movie. This movie deals with ideas of free will. I'll just put it that way because I want to be cryptic. If you know, you know. If you've already seen the movie. I'm talking, this is a video made for people who haven't seen Minority Report. Go rent it from whatever app store you have on your phone, laptop, whichever. Netflix, if it's on your version of Netflix. HBO, I don't care. Go watch it. Sorry, what was I saying? This movie introduces ideas of free will into it very early on. If you really have a choice in the decisions in your life and in the lives of people close to you and how you affect that. There's something that happens in the opening scene of this movie where I thought to myself, wait, that doesn't make sense. If people have free will, how can you live in this world and allow what's happening in this world to happen? How can people just go along with it? It answers that question very quickly. That you know what? This isn't actually a perfect world when you think about it. This is a dystopia. The difference between this and other typical dystopias is that a typical dystopia would have this kind of like Nazi-ish vibe to it. V for Vendetta. I'm trying to think like a Clockwork Orange, 1984. It always feels like people are kind of lost in themselves, or they've repressed every desire, or they're, at least in the public sphere, repressed every desire. In this world, I think they trick you, because of the opening scene, into thinking, you know what, this world definitely has its problems, but it's a lot better than the one we already have. At least it tricks me. And that's where the stakes come in for me in this movie. Through that, and then through something else that happens, another big event that sets off the rest of this movie. And that is one of the things where it reinforces this idea that no, you do have freedom of choice through the stakes. You can decide your future in spite of what may be predestined, may or may not be predestined for you, or what people may think of the path that you may take. You can still decide. That is why the stakes set up a big idea that I have about this film, that a journey is always better than a destination. Again, free will, stakes, fire. Secondly, second big thing I like about this film, and why it sets up this idea again of experiencing things instead of just thinking about the end result, is the big villain twist. The villain twist in this movie, I was really convinced that this movie was trying to set up something else with another character played by actually I don't want to say but there's two characters in this film who, one seems like they're deliberately trying to set up the main character, and by the time I realized that, oh no, there's something else at play, there's another character who has been in front of our eyes the whole time, it was such a good bait and switch that really surprised me. Not because I'm this smart person who always looks for Easter eggs and can think ahead necessarily, but because it made me realize that this movie, once again, like I mentioned with the free will and the stakes, the intense feeling that you get with this film, this movie is almost like through the villain, it's almost like a meta commentary on like typical ABC stories, like of Marvel film, so on, where you think you know what you're going to get with a villain, but no, this isn't about that at all. It's about so-and-so person, so-and-so group, so-and-so event. And the way they introduce Again, a big like villain twist in this movie made me feel some type of way. You know, yeah, that genuinely surprised me. It reminded me, yeah, things are a lot more about characters' choices in this film and their intentions. They're a lot more complex than what we think they are. They're not set in stone. Just because we suspect someone is going to be a certain type of person doesn't mean that's what they end up being. Again, journey always better than the destination. That's a setup through the villain twist. Now, the third thing that reinforces that message for me in this film, and another big like, the acting power. I think Tom Cruise in this role, this movie may not have worked as well without him in the role. Luckily for him, there are other great actors in this film that also reinforce this world. And throughout this movie, again, even though I knew this is technically a dystopia, this is one of the few times where I didn't feel that way. Because it just felt like, no, this is Tom Cruise in a sci-fi movie. He runs, he does this. I may be speaking to a certain generational mentality, because I watched movies from the 90s, growing up in the 2000s, so on. I know Tom Cruise mostly for action stuff, first and foremost. He has done Jerry Maguire, what's the thing, Risky Business. I've seen him in some other things that demonstrates acting ability, but not that hard hitting, not too much of the hard hitting stuff. This does both for me. And it reminded me through his role, like the emotion he gave, thinking about certain things he has lost in his life, that really kind of dug deep with me. It reminded me that, again, characters, how they think, their choices, that shit can be so unpredictable. Again, just based on your sense of self, your freedom of your free will. The journey that is always better than the destination. It's not what you think you are, it's how you get to a certain path. You can always swerve. This movie, I'm scared of overhyping it. That's why I don't want to talk about it too much. I do like it, like I said. It felt intense. Love the stakes. Love the villain twist. Love the acting power in this film. Tell me what you think down below, guys. Your thoughts. Press the thumbs up video if you like this video. Share with all your friends, family. Press that subscribe button. It's right there. Don't be shy. Click. It's right there. Guys, other than that, signing off. Salute.